Purposefully Profitable Podcast, episode 25. It's Teach Yourself Thursday on the Purposefully Profitable Podcast, and I'm your host, the Profitability Professor, Russ Barnes, CEO and founder of Systro, organization strategist for small business, where we have a single focus, pointing you to the principles that prepare you to be profitable and prosperous. Your journey is unique to you. So it's important that you find the information you need to make the decisions that get you to where you want to be. The purpose of Teach Yourself Thursday is to share books that contain principles which will help you to become purposefully profitable. This week, the Teach Yourself Thursday resource is a book titled The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. Many of you have heard of it. Many of you have read it. Many of you have studied it and applied it to your life. On the Purposefully Profitable Podcast, episode 19, the words of wisdom on that Wednesday were from Stephen Covey. Dependent people need others to get what they want. Independent people can get what they want through their own efforts. Interdependent people combine their own efforts with the efforts of others to achieve their greatest success. During that episode, we went into detail about how that statement applies to you in your pursuit of purposeful profitability. Today, we're going to learn more about the man behind the quote and dig into the book that has sold more than 25 million copies and changed the lives of many. Stephen Covey was born in 1932 and was an American educator, author, businessman, and keynote speaker. He was a professor at the John M. Huntsman School of Business at Utah State University. He was also the author of First Things First, Principle-Centered Leadership, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective Families, The 8th Habit, and The Leader in Me, How Schools and Parents Around the World Are Inspiring Greatness, One Child at a Time. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People was published in 1989 and changed the culture of both the business and personal lives of millions. Terms that are commonplace in conversation today, such as paradigm shift, begin with the end in mind, put first things first, and seek first to understand and then to be understood, were popularized by Stephen Covey. When I think of a thought leader, I think of someone who has successfully changed the way millions of people think, and Stephen Covey fits my description to a T. The book is 318 pages long, with 40 additional pages of appendices and indexes. The book is divided into 4 parts and 7 chapters, which are titled according to the applicable habit. The uniqueness of the book is in the research-based, principle-focused approach and the anecdotes used to illustrate the key points. The book also includes graphs and worksheets that enhance the learning experience. Culture is the development of an environment that enables people in an organization to understand the acceptable norms and behaviors of that organization. Once you've read this book, you will have no excuse for saying, I didn't know how my behavior affected the success of my organization. This is a book that requires study. Reading it cover to cover in order to check the box will not fill the bill. Even after nearly 40 years, the concepts are dynamic and relevant. The chapter lineup is as follows. Part 1, Paradigms and Principles. Inside Out, The 7 Habits, and Overview. Part 2, Private Victory. Habit 1, Be Proactive. Principles of Personal Vision. Habit 2, Begin with the End in Mind. Principles of Personal Leadership. Habit 3, Put First Things First. Principles of Personal Management. Part 3, Public Victory. Paradigms of Interdependence. Habit 4, Think win-win. Principles of interpersonal leadership. Habit 5. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Principles of empathetic communication. Habit 6. Synergize. Principles of creative cooperation. Part 4. Renewal. Habit 7. Sharpen the saw. Principles of balanced self-renewal. Inside out again. Appendix A. Possible perceptions flowing out of various centers. Appendix B. A quadrant 2 day at the office. Problem Opportunity Index. Index. As I grew up in my leadership journey, these concepts were part of many conversations involving organization effectiveness. The chapter titles alone communicate volumes. To be purposefully profitable, perfecting performance based on principles must be a primary practice. Here are my Teach Yourself Thursday top 10 takeaways from the 7 Habits of Effective Leaders by Stephen R. Covey. 1. Paradigms are formed by perceptions and determine our perspective. They are the source of our attitudes and behaviors. 2. Habits are formed at the intersection of knowledge, skill, and ability. All 3 must be present. 3. Principles are timeless. 4. The application of principles result in the maximum long-term benefits possible. 5. Leadership deals with the top line. Management deals with the bottom line. 6. Work hard for the win-win. 7. Begin with the end in mind. 8. Have a mission that matters. 9. The gate of change can only be opened from the inside. 10. Never stop learning. There are far too many insights in this book to even begin giving it a just synopsis. My top 10 takeaways fit with the way I've been oriented in my leadership style for years. You might have 10 completely different takeaways. If it has been a while since you read the book, perhaps it's time to pick it up again. Of all the things I've read in this book, the most significant one for me is to sharpen the saw. Never stop learning. This has been Teach Yourself Thursday with your host, the Profitability Professor, Russ Barnes. If you have questions or feedback, please forward them to russ@systro.org. We would love to hear from you. Subscribe to the Purposefully Profitable Podcast today so that you will not miss a single episode, and thank you for listening.